Well, the first half left a lot to be desired for Manchester United, but the second half was definitely an improvement under Erik ten Hag. 3-0, and that's great for Red Devils and their fans after losing 2 on the trot before the international break. But now Manchester United 3-0 against Southampton. Luis Miguel Echegaray, LME, ESPN FC Live. Welcome, everybody. The Premier League is back. Stevie Nicol, my Scottish deal. How are you, Stevie?
Not bad. Yep.
Let's get straight to it, my friend. Give me your reaction to this. I mean, we'll talk about the performance in a second, but this, in many ways, even this early in the season, was a much-needed victory for Manchester United.
Yeah, I mean, you can't help getting the feeling that United would love to play Southampton every time they stepped on the field. Although initially they made it hard for themselves. Given a penalty away at 0-0, you thought, oh, here we go again. We've seen this script before. And Nana comes up with a save. And then basically from there on in, it was an easy victory. Listen, at the end of the day, you can only beat what's put in front of you. And Manchester United won this very comfortably. You know, that last, 15, 20 minutes of the first half is really where they just demolished Southampton. 2 goals within 5-6 minutes. The first one from De Ligt, who actually did a real good game today, looked really solid defensively, and getting a goal. You know, after the tough week he's had, getting criticised from Koeman, to come back and give United the lead and be so solid, I'm sure he'll be real pleased, as will ten Hag. And of course, Rashford managing to get a goal. You know, always the first thing in everybody's lips is, where's the real Rashford? Where's all these goals that he's supposed to score? And of course, today he gets a nice one in the bottom corner past Ramsdale, who actually in the first half had 3 other great saves. I mean, it could have been 4-0 at half time. So yeah, it's a comfortable victory in the end. Other than the penalty kick they gave away, it was comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, a comfortable victory against, let's be honest, the team that's really going to do everything they can to stay in this Premier League, obviously as part of the fact that Southampton continue with all losses. We'll get to them in a second. But you mentioned the performances of Matthijs de Ligt, Marcus Rashford, players that needed to have this sort of performance, at least goals and a win, of course. Alejandro Garnacho getting that 3rd goal towards the end. But really, it was a tale of 2 stories, really, because before Andre Onana's penalty save from Cam Archer, Southampton really looked more dominant here in the first 35 minutes. You thought that the end result was going to be maybe different. Did you think that maybe Onana's save, because 2 minutes later, obviously, came the De Ligt goal, but Onana's save in many ways kind of changed the trajectory of this game?
Yeah, no, it definitely did. That's a huge turning point. But at the same time, I never at any stage thought Southampton were going to score. Mm-hmm. You know, yes, they had quite a bit of the ball, and you know, the young kid dribbling on the right hand side, going at Dalot, gave him some problems.
Very good player.
Yeah, he gave him a lot of problems. But as I said, I never at any stage thought Southampton are going to put the ball in the back of the net. And even with a penalty kick, they still can't put it in the back of the net. I mean, they've got the script for relegation. Yeah. You can't score a goal to save your life, and you can't keep the ball out your own net to save your life. I mean, it's got relegation written all over it. But at the end of the day, Man United took advantage of that, which most teams are going to probably do this season. But it's a good win for United. It's a good 3 points away from home, and probably settles things down at Old Trafford.
Yeah, I think we talked about this in the past, about how these newly promoted sides are going to really struggle. The difference between the newly promoted sides and everybody else has really never been larger. It's going to be a real battle. Southampton remind me a little bit of Vincent Kompany's Burnley, actually. Very stubborn on their philosophy, but they're just not going to be able to do this against the very best. It's going to be too hard. I wanted to quickly discuss about, we talked about Rashford, De Ligt, but in that 3rd goal, Alejandro Garnacho getting that 3rd goal, obviously the game was done. Southampton were playing with 10 men. Dalot with the assist, but it was Casemiro's through ball that really set that up. I mean, that's a good thing for Manchester United fans, right? To at least see some kind of impetus from Casemiro. I mean, maybe he's not going to be the starting player anymore, but maybe coming in later might help them a little bit. What did you think?
Well, I think more importantly for Casemiro himself, having gone home after the game last week with his tail tucked firmly between his legs, he's going to go home tonight thinking about, well, you know what, I actually came on and I created something for Garnacho. I mean, it's a huge change in mindset from being down on yourself to thinking, you know what, I can actually play this game. And I guess what he's done is shown everybody, not just United fans, but everybody else who was on his back after the Liverpool game, that, do you know what, I can actually play this game. Now, it's not going to get him around the field any quicker, but you can see, and he's just, as I've said, let the fuse again that I'm a football player, I can play at a high level, and I can create chances and make things happen. And so really, I guess, as I said, for the most part, this is more about Casemiro getting a little bit more confidence back in himself, as opposed to everybody enjoying it.
Yeah, Marcus Rashford, De Ligt, Garnacho, we mentioned Casemiro, Manuel Ugarte came on his debut. It was a short time period of a debut, but he completed every tackle and every pass in this game. Obviously, it wasn't that much longer resume for his first game, but still, regardless, Onana keeps a clean sheet, makes a save. Licha Martinez obviously came up with an issue with his back. Dalo got better. Is there anybody in this lineup that really impressed you today that said, you know what, this is a really good performance and hopefully more things to come from the Manchester United perspective?
Well, we talked about how Casemiro would be good for him to do what he did in the short space of time he was on. But I think the one player who will come away from this game with the most has to be De Ligt. He had a horrendous international break, played 2 games, made 2 important mistakes, and then his manager, of all people, comes out and destroys him in the press. I mean, I still can't get my head around why Koeman would do that.
Yeah.
Everybody could see that De Ligt had made some mistakes, and De Ligt would be the last person that would need to be told that he wasn't at his best and made mistakes. So why are you rubbing his face in it, and why are you putting it all over the press? So, I think this was an important game for De Ligt. And he showed that, you know what, he's made the sterner stuff. He's got a big heart, and he's not going to listen to anybody from the outside. He's going to show people what he's capable of, because that's what his performance today did. It said, I don't care what you think of me. This is what I'm going to do. And as I said, more importantly, never mind the goal. More importantly, defensively, he never put a foot wrong. He won headers. He covered people. He made challenges. And the goal is just the icing on the cake for him. So I would say that, no question, this United victory today was more important for De Ligt personally, from a personal point of view, and he thoroughly deserved it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, getting that goal, as you mentioned, redemption tour for Matthias De Ligt in that one. There was a little bit of an issue here with Noussair Mazraoui coming off, Stevie. I mean, he started brightly in his Premier League career with Manchester United. We'll have to wait and see how serious the injury is. But yeah, what did you make of that, and how much will they miss him, do you think?
Do you know, I, rather than talk just about Mazraoui, it wasn't a good end to the game for Ten Hag. Harry Maguire was hobbling around after coming on. As you said, Mazraoui looked as though he was struggling a bit. Martinez, struggling a bit with a back. I mean, a back injury is a nightmare for any professional sportsman. So
defensively, they have issues then here. What would you make of it then? Because those are 3 key players here, and that's the issue with an Erik ten Hag squad now. Every time there's a headache, and when you look at the schedule here, Manchester they face Barnsley in the 3rd round of the League Cup, then Palace away, then the Europa League, and then Tottenham. I mean, the games are coming fast and thick. They're hoping defensively they're going to get better, but it is a worry, right? As you mentioned, of all those players looking like having some niggles at the end.
Yeah. Well, it's twofold, because obviously, number one, you don't want injuries, and And I think United's back line needs to get better as a unit anyway. And so the only way you can do that is by having it play on the field consistently. And if you've got players coming in and out, and Lisandro Martinez is playing a game and then having to miss a game through an injury, and then Maguire's back in, and then he's out, and then Martinez is back, and then Mazraoui's out. Then you got Dalot, who today was not at his best defensively. So yeah, it's a good victory, but there are also things for Ten Hag to think about. Not just from the injury point of view, but from a point of view of getting some cohesion with that back line. Because defensively, they haven't been totally convincing since the start of the season. So yeah, it's important to get a settled back line, settled formation, and get them playing together. And so the injuries just absolutely disrupt all of that, which is not good for United.
Yeah, and when you have domestic cup competitions coming up and the Europa League, which is going to demand a lot from them, being healthy is a main thing. Did today's performance, and I think I know the answer to this because it was Southampton, but did today's performance make any difference of an opinion on you on where Manchester United will end by the end of the season?
No, absolutely not. This is a game that they expect to win. Unfortunately, the narrative around United still is, can they go to places like Southampton and win comfortably? Well, I guess today, they've answered the question today. What they have to do is continue on a consistent basis to answer that question, going away from home to the Southamptons, to the Leicesters, to the Palaces, to places where historically they should go and win comfortably. They've answered that question today. That's all they can do is answer the question. Go away, get your 3 points, get some goals, and move on with some confidence.
Yeah, and I think I know the answer. Your answer to this question: Southampton, almost surely they're going back to the Championship if they don't improve, and I don't see really that happen. There's a massive gap, right?
Well, unfortunately, they have the recipe for relegation, which is you can't defend and you can't score goals, and there's only one outcome. And as much as they'll try and compete, and as much as they'll try and play the football, which doesn't make any sense to me, you're trying to do things that are going to get you in trouble. And why you continue to do that, I'm sorry, but Russell Martin's a young manager. Right now, he's talking about his philosophy and he's going to stick to it. But, at the end of the day, it's about picking up points and it's about winning games. And also the fans. Fans will sacrifice playing lovely football for picking up points and winning games. And eventually, when you don't do that, then you'll lose them. So Southampton have to be very careful. If you're going to go down fighting. Don't go down with a whimper and try and be clever and try and pass your way out it, because they're not good enough to do that, and they've already shown that in 4 games that they're not good enough to pass their way through the Premier League. So they're going to have to change, in my opinion, in order to have an opportunity or any sort of chance of staying in the Premier League. And that means that the manager is going to have to swallow some of his principles and do what's necessary.
Yeah, and if there's a massive necessity for any team that gets promoted, the one thing you have to try and do is create your home stadium as a fortress. And that definitely did not happen today at St. Mary's Stadium. But Manchester United, Erik ten Hag, after losing 2 straight matches before the international break, come back with a 3-0 victory. Defensive injuries possibly, but regardless, 3 points, a big 3 points for the Red Devils against Southampton. Stephen Nicol, Luis Miguel, Echegaray. Make sure to stay with us throughout the week, every day, of course, on ESPN FC and ESPN FC Live. We'll see you next time.